I am too tired to do any type of philosophical recap about time management or the quick passage of time or the fleeting nature of one's youth. Hi everybody, this week I'm doing Haruki Murakami's writing routine, which is kind of a doozy. We'll see how this goes. From what I've seen, his writing routine starts at 4 in the morning. He wakes up and writes from 4 until noonish, and then he runs a 10K every day. And then for the rest of the day, he is listening to music or reading. So that's the flow of what every single day is gonna look like. However, I have to modify it since I go to work outside of the house every day. So my modified schedule is going to be as follows. Number 1, get up at 4 every morning, and then work until about 6:30 or 7 on writing stuff. Work out for an hour, get ready to go to work, and then I have to be at work by 9 a.m. So it will mostly be just a really packed, really early morning writing routine. So with exercise, I am not going to be running a 10K because I'm not a runner and I've never run a 10K in my whole life. I think what's more realistic is for me to take time every day to work out rather than like 2 or 3 times a week. And so that's the main thing that I want to kind of incorporate into this new schedule is just working out daily in the first place. In the evening, eating dinner earlier than usual and getting some leisure time in after dinner. From 6 to 9 would be reading time and listening to music and hanging out with my husband in the evening. And he is doing this with me. He's really pumped about it too, and he has language stuff that he'll be working on as well as possibly some writing projects. So it'll be a team effort, which I think will make it easier rather than one person sleeping for those 5 hours that the other person is awake. And I'm planning on fueling this with a lot of coffee. I've had 2 iced coffees already today, and my plan is to go to bed by 9 p.m., which is in like an hour. The reason that I want to try this is that I am a morning person. I'm an early morning bird. Trying out waking up super early, if I actually get enough sleep, those are my most productive hours. And so I'm super excited to see what happens when I actually allow myself to wake up that early and be that productive. I can just go straight into my writing project when my mind is completely clear in the morning. And it's been a really long time since I was able to have that kind of schedule. And if it's something that we like, we might stick to it. Maybe in a less extreme form, maybe getting at 5:30, it would really change the way that our lives work because we've been going to bed at 2 a.m. This is gonna be interesting. My writing goals for this week are to finish my outline. I'm really close to starting this draft. I'm not a perfectionist, but I think that there are some aspects where I'm like, I just don't want to start. I don't want to waste that much time again. If I can just plan things out and talk it out and work it out right now, those are my goals. Finish my scene-by-scene outline and get ready to draft. I just have trouble lately waking up to my alarms. So my husband and I have a deal where if we wake up any later than 5, we're just gonna sleep till 9 and call the whole thing off. With that, let's jump into the week. I have coffee and water, and then to wake myself up, we're gonna do some journaling and some 10 ideas in order to just like jog my brain awake. Other than that, I'm feeling pretty awake, and I think it's just that it's like the first time, so my body has no idea what's going on. I got to sleep after midnight, which is lovely. I'm gonna go sort all of these things, and I will let you know how it goes. Okay, quick update. So for the first 2 hours from 4 to 6, it was mostly just like getting coffee and then doing journaling and 10 ideas and just kind of like waking up and just getting creative. Then I wrote for about 45 minutes and I did 1,100 words and I completely finished the task that I'd set out for myself to do this morning, so I feel really successful about that. And then we worked out for about 45 minutes again, and we both ran a mile, and then we ate breakfast, and here we are ready to go to work on time. And so I think all in all, it was really successful so far. The only problem is that I'm dead tired. There's just like a huge sense of accomplishment that comes with finishing so many things so early in the day. Okay, that's all for now. I'm going to work and I will update at the end of the night with a full day recap. Okay, bye. When I came home, I did a little bit more writing, but not much. What I decided, after I finished the scene by scene outline, I kind of hit a little bit of a block of just what do I do next? Of the things that I have in there, how can I perfect them? Which ones are like okay, but like masquerading as like good enough, but they're actually not good enough and I need to cut them and figure out something better. So now that I've constructed the whole scaffold, I have to like nitpick it, and that's really exhausting. So I think also that job was just kind of weighing on me, that was the task for today. So what I ended up doing is going through the scene by scene outline and writing a list of things that were kind of fishy, that like hit me wrong, where it was like, I don't think that actually holds. So with that being said, I did not read. I did listen to some music, but really not a lot, not in the way that I think Murakami was intending. Next, what would I do better tomorrow? What my plan is to do like some light journaling or like free flow thought, and then kind of jump into writing as soon as I feel awake enough. I'm still super happy that I'm doing this, and I think it's an interesting experiment. I think I'd like to see if I can like be responsible enough that this actually is a pleasant experience, but that starts now with the choices that I make right now. That's day one recap. I'm gonna go to bed and I will be back tomorrow. Day 2 update. I think it's 8:15 p.m. We're going to bed right now because 4 hours of sleep and then 5 hours of sleep is really not enough. I'm actually doing fine, but I think that overall everything will go better if I have more sleep. So the goal is to get at least 7 hours of sleep tonight, which we haven't gotten in a little while. This morning was really, really, really good. I got just a massive brainwave. The problem was that I cut the flow state short because we had to go work out, and I wasn't gonna just skip a giant part of the routine. I wasn't able to get a whole lot of traction for the rest of the day on my project, but I did end up getting around 1,200 more words of notes. Overall word count is about 3,500, and it's crazy because I know that that's a lot of words, but it feels like I didn't really get a chance to kind of satiate my want to be involved in this story. Like, even though I achieved that flow state this morning, I really did feel like it was cut short, and so I wanted to achieve that again, and I didn't get a chance. And I still haven't read a book. Here we are at like 8:30 p.m. and it's time for bed. Right now, like, the sun is still out. Like, not out, but it's like, it's not even, like, I'm pretty sure the sun has set by now, but like just barely. And I'm still caffeinated. So in order to fight the caffeine, I need to take melatonin. Things are going well in general. I'm having a lot of fun. Just thought I would say that. I feel like I've been negative, but I've actually been doing a lot of work and really enjoying it. I just need to optimize. We're at the point where we just have to tweak it, perfect it. Anyway, I have to go to bed. Good night. I will talk to you tomorrow for day 3. quick update. I did not get to bed on time yesterday. I went to sleep at like 11:30 and that was so dumb. This is definitely the roughest morning yet. I think you can see it in my face. I just like am not well rested, but it's okay. I woke up this morning and I was like, I am dead. This is not good. I still got in a workout, 1.2 mile run, and then my writing actually went really well. It was a lot of organization of kind of like all the list of tasks that I still really need to do for the rest of the month. I wrote down a couple of fresh ideas into the scene by scene outline, which was really good. And I wrote like 1,000 words of notes and then brought together all the notes for the magic system. I have the template to fill out for the magic system guidebook. So that's what I'll be doing today, which I feel good about because I feel like it's a direction that I kind of didn't have yesterday. Okay, that's everything for right now. So let me tell you, last night I didn't film anything because I was just exhausted and I didn't get any reading done. I didn't get any more writing done. I didn't do anything. I honestly I don't have a memory of what I did last night. But it's now 7 p.m. The plan for the next 2 hours is just to do a little bit of something that makes me feel like I'm working towards my goals and making progress on my story. We're gonna keep doing this through Sunday morning and then kind of assess like if it works for our lifestyle or not. And the thing is at this point, so okay, we're into day 4. I've woken up at 4 a.m. every single day of those 4 days. And my take right now is that I think it would still take some more getting used to physically for it to really work. I kind of felt before we'd done this week that like we weren't really utilizing our full potential because we weren't getting up early enough. And now I kind of feel like before this I was really like maybe I wasn't working out every day and maybe I wasn't journaling every day or like being as thoughtful as I wanted, but I was working on my book like so much as I wanted to, and like that part of my life was completely full and it wasn't in a burnt out type of way. It was just like I am putting my effort where I want it to be, and I have not been able to do that this week. And so I'm anticipating that this isn't the perfect schedule for me. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I just haven't given it enough of a chance yet. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna recap really quick because I'm off to bed. It's like 8:45, I think. Okay, let's start from the beginning. It was a much better day than I've had so far. It's like a really nice morning, and then I got super inspired. I wrote for 2 hours about honestly like the cosmology and philosophy and moral theory of the world. I understand that's not strictly necessary to have, but the villain needs to have a moral theory that he posits as an explanation that's completely founded on his misbeliefs, and that's kind of taking the actual philosophy of how the world works according to the magic system and kind of turning it on its head according to his own selfish inclinations. And so it's really important to figure that stuff out. And when I got home, I like had dinner and everything, and then by the time it was like 5, I was ready to sit down and write again. So I got about 4 hours of writing in, and then I took a nap for 3 hours, which is why I look like a zombie, because I am, and I'm ready for bed. Yeah, I think my body's finally caught up to this schedule. Tomorrow is gonna be the same type of schedule, and actually I have a coffee date with a friend at 9, so it's gonna be the exact same schedule as usual. Murakami Day 5 was the successful one. Even though I took a long nap, it was the one where I had the time to do what I wanted to do, and I'm grateful for that. Thanks for listening. I will talk to you in my daily recap tomorrow evening. Okay, it's a short recap today because I didn't do a whole lot towards Murakami and the writing schedule / any writing at all. A lot of times it's really good for me to get out there and socialize. And so that was what today was, which, you know, it's needed, it's necessary. I am disappointed. It's also completely caused by the choices that I made, and it's okay. We actually woke up at 5 this morning. I know, it's a little bit of a violation of the actual rules of the game. In the morning, I didn't do anything intellectual, like nothing at all. And I just decided, I guess it was the effect of waking up at 5 rather than 4, is I just had the illusion that I didn't have time to do anything intellectual. I didn't have time to actually sink into anything. So I did a bunch of housework. And then we worked out for an hour, which is longer than we have really during the weekdays. And so that was good. I ran 2 miles this time. So that's the longest that I've gone during the course of this experiment and also in the past 2 years. So I feel like that's a great little milestone. After that, I went out to breakfast with a friend and it was really great. And then my husband and I went on a date, and so there was no writing that got done there. It was awesome though, it was so beautiful. And then when we got back, I called a family member for a really long time, and it was fantastic. And so it was just a very social outing, beautiful day, and no regrets at all. This is the first day I haven't written like a stitch, a word. Well, anyway, it's been a long week. Welcome back to day 7 recap. This is the final day of the Murakami week. So, first of all, a rundown of today, really quick. I woke up at 5 again, so apparently our weekend was more of a 5 a.m. vibe rather than the 4 a.m. I think that's okay because it was the weekend and we were frankly exhausted. I didn't get any writing in this morning, but I did get in a workout and then social stuff like all day long. And then in the evening, just now had a really productive writing session, and it's the first evening writing session that I've had that's been like really good. But so this lasted for like almost 3 hours maybe, and it was great. I have my scene by scene outline, and I went through my compilation outline of like all the notes that I've taken, like all the different character arcs and outlines of all the different plots. That's all compiled into one, and I fleshed out the scene by scene by adding in only the relevant details. Stuff where when I'm drafting, this is what I need to know for this moment in time. So I did that, and then for a half an hour after that, I workshopped it with my husband, which we haven't had a chance to do in a while, like a long time. And I don't know, every few weeks this book is a different book, and which is why I don't want to start it, because I'm like, it could be a whole different book in a month. And then I would never have a book, so I'm going to write it anyway. Having a second pair of eyes is just, it's just great. You get so confused when you're doing it all in your head for so long. And just like forgetting like which content you said yes to, which content you said no to, and all that stuff. So I feel like tonight was super, super just productive and encouraging, and that means that I'm in a really good place for writing tomorrow. I will comment on that later, but for now, let's do a really quick recap of pros and cons of this schedule now that we've done a full week of it. Pros. It gives you an insane sense of accomplishment going off to work or for the rest of your day, knowing that you've done something really difficult and really necessary and really fulfilling. So for the rest of the day, you've done that work and you are satisfied with the work that you've done. Second pro, it allows you to get in a workout, which is something that I had really been lacking in my schedule. And so I honestly think working out has been like the biggest pro of this entire schedule. Like I've been working out every single day. And that's just something that was impossible before, or it felt impossible before, because I was just having a really hard time waking up in the morning. And I think a lot of it was motivation. It was just, I don't really want the day to start because some days are hard. And when you get up and you're immediately looking forward to doing something you love, like writing, like you can immediately get to it. You don't have to wait for the next 9 or 10 hours. Then doing all the other hard stuff doesn't really seem too bad because you're already doing something you love right off the bat. Another pro for me is that it was just nice to kind of spend like just time that was so quiet and uninterrupted and focused. And the fourth pro is that I do actually really think that it did increase mindfulness, because the other things that I added into the schedule that I think were taking up writing time were the journaling and kind of like the micro journals of like the one beautiful thing a day, or the 10 ideas. And so I really tried very, very hard to incorporate those in every day. And those are things I don't ever have time for in my usual schedule. But I honestly feel like a lot more thoughtful about my life. And I feel like just like the mindfulness aspect was like really greatly improved. And I think early morning hours just kind of have that tone of sit and be still and be mindful. And so those were all pros that I really enjoyed about this schedule, and I'm overall so glad that I did it. The cons are obviously going to bed. Like, it's just hard to get to bed because the sun is barely set and all your friends are still awake, and just feels like there hasn't been that much day lived because I'm so used to having such long nights. And it's just kind of a bummer to go to bed so early and to feel the pressure of the next day so close all the time, where it's like either we just finished all the hard stuff for this day or we're thinking about the hard stuff for tomorrow. And so it just kind of felt like there was a constant stress and pressure. And that's why I didn't get very much reading done, which is another con, is that I felt too pressured to read, and every spare moment was going towards something that I felt like was more important than reading, which I don't want to do. I want to have time in my life to feel like I can relax, and relax by doing something productive like reading, which I really need to do because I'm a writer. And so feeling too stressed to read is a giant con of this. The other con that's really affected me personally, but might not affect some other writers, is that my creativity in the morning got really interrupted. As I've said before, I didn't have that time to just like sit and write for as long as I really felt like it, rather than having, like 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. Like, I really prefer to have like 4 or 5 hours at night, because when I have those shorter segments, I feel like there's a barrier to getting a whole lot done because I know that I'm gonna get my concentration broken, and that's just very frustrating. And when I have that like really intense burst of creativity in the morning, and I force myself to get into the project, and then I force myself out of the project once I've gotten a ton of traction, it's really disappointing in the rest of the day to think like, how can I get back to that place? And so then kind of feeling defeated for the rest of the day, and I don't like that feeling. I would rather just stay in that state of like super deep concentration, inspiration that I can get to really easily. I'd rather just stay there for as long as I can, and then be done with it when I like exhaust it. And so I think that's just like a personal quirk. I don't think it's a thing that everybody doing this schedule would deal with. I think it's mostly a me thing. But it being a me thing means that I have to change something. I can't do this schedule and feel fulfilled in my writing, which is the most important thing, right? So I'm not feeling fulfilled in writing. I'm not feeling fulfilled in reading, and I'm really not sleeping very much. And so it's not the perfect schedule for me. The one disclaimer I want to say about my personal experience with this past week is that work was crazy. Like, it's never been like that. So the work pressure combined with the lack of sleep was just a lot to handle. I was getting home from work way like hours later than I usually do. And so it felt like the days were consumed by my job. When I went into this, that was not part of the equation. And if it hadn't been like that, I think I would have had a much better experience. I still like the idea of getting up earlier because then I can still get in the workout, which was beneficial, and the mindfulness practices, which were beneficial, and breakfast, which I had not been doing before and I think was beneficial. So we're actually going to keep going with it. For the next week, we're going to get up at 5 and see if that's any better. And I hope that it's going to decrease stress, and hopefully make it more possible for me to sit down and kind of have the concentration in the night. I'm going to see if this is a happy medium or the worst possible option. My August 1st deadline, it's the 24th. I think I can't do math. I don't know. It's in like a week. So the goal is definitely to get a ton done this week. I now have an idea that's really, really interesting to me. And when it catches, like, my brain runs away with it, and just kind of realizing that I'm really grateful to have an idea that's so engaging that like the minute I show up, we're in business. My gosh, it did not used to be that way. So I have had a journey with this story, but here we are. I would say try it if you're curious. It was a really interesting and fun experiment, and apparently it's kicked off a wave of us being really productive in the morning, which I think is a good thing overall because we were kind of lazy before. So And it also taught me that I'm much more of a night owl than I thought. Trying out other writers' schedules is really interesting because it's for them, it's their schedule, and it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work for you. But giving things a really good try, I think, is also important. And so that's what we did. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and happy writing. Bye.